Hey, Facebook. I just wanted to come on and just kind of speak my piece and just my thoughts and feelings about the recent events, the death of George Floyd. And just this week, I've been feeling angry, as many people, overwhelmed, sad, disappointed, numb, shocked, and just deeply frustrated. Just about the death of this brother and just the way it's being handled. And I've also been thinking about his family, and specifically his 6-year-old daughter. When I found out he had a 6-year-old daughter, I just started to think about all of the children that I worked with in my previous position at Uplift Center for Grieving Children, where we went around to schools and we did 6-week grief groups trying to help young people. And my youngest students were probably 5 and 6, and just trying to help them to process their grief in a safe, loving, and healthy environment. And so we know that children do grieve and they process it and internalize it a lot differently than adults do. And so just thinking about her and praying for her and just the entire family of George Floyd, who I can't even imagine what they're going through, having to deal with this public death and having to grieve so publicly. So you are in my heart, you are in my thoughts, and you are in my prayers. And I do not say that lightly. This video is being done out of a conversation that I had with my dear friend, Emily Mitchell, who was a white sister. We've been friends for about 15 years, and we have had the difficult conversations about race and about white supremacy. And we talked about last night for a while just what white people can do. And that has been probably the most amazing and shocking thing, to hear white people asking what it is that they can do. And if I were to answer that question, I would say that oftentimes Black people answer with "you can listen," but I will also say that you can listen with the intent to understand, because oftentimes the conversation is halted and it's stopped because white people feel that we are attacking them, or we are blaming them, or we are saying that they are bad people and that they own slaves themselves. And that is not what's being said. What's being said is, and what Black America is trying to get across, is that in America's inception, there was and is a white power structure that was created to promote white entitlement and white privilege. But that same white power structure promoted the marginalization, the oppression, the persecution, and the abuse of Black and brown bodies, especially and specifically to African Americans. And it made me think about Dr. King, how he spoke about two Americas, one for Black and one for white. So, example, since we're talking about policing, for example, we know that policing in this original form was created as slave patrol to keep the slaves in line, and to monitor them and to make sure that they were, doing what they were supposed to be doing, that they were complying, and if not, they were dealt with excessive force and with dominance. And we see that that hasn't changed. And that is why, white people talk about police so fondly and they look at them as a friend. But Black people, we look at them as the enemy because of our experiences with them and our interactions with them during the 400 years that we've been here on American soil. So when you hear the cries and the yells and the rioting of African American people, it's not just because one day we just decided to do that. One day we just decided that we were going to get up and emote all these feelings and emotions, but it's because the death of George Floyd and the death of Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and Amadou Diallo and Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and Eric Garner and Sandra Bland, all the way back to Emmett Till, all these deaths are connected. They are at the hands of either white police officers or white persons who thought they were the law, who thought they were police officers. They were keeping the law and keeping Black folk in line. And we see that again in our communities with the over policing of black and brown bodies, with the excessive force used to keep us in line. And when we see that all of these things are connected and go back to that white power structure created to uplift whiteness and to allow white people to freely move throughout America and throughout the world, but to keep black and brown bodies, specifically African Americans, subjugated and just dominated by force. So that is the just the message that we want to get out to you. And I also would like to say that, black people, we know American history. We've learned it from kindergarten to 12th grade, but oftentimes it was to our detriment that we didn't even know our own history, our own black history. And so I would like to encourage white America, if you want to be an ally, if you want to be a friend to the black community, if you want to join the movement and the cause, then I would encourage you to do your own research, to do your own homework. Don't wait for black people to explain to you about racism, explain to you how it works, because that's, really is tiring, it's angering, and it makes you feel fatigued because we're tired of it, And I think it's time for white America to do their own research. And there's so much research out there, materials out there. I really like Robin DiAngelo. She wrote a book called White Fragility. She's a white woman that does anti-racism workshops and speeches and talks. And then you have, Tim Wise, who I really respect and revere. He does also a white brother that does anti-racism workshops, really on point, articles, books, speeches. They're all on YouTube. There's so much material out there. So there's no reason for you, if you want to be an ally, if you want to be a friend, if you want to help, there's no reason that, you can't help with knowledge. You don't have to help with ignorance. You can help with knowledge, and you can help with intelligence and knowing black history and the plight of the African American in America. You can know that there is material out there for you. And also, I'm available if anybody wants to inbox me and just talk further. I believe that God is using this time to kind of to work things out, and to kind of bring this to the forefront just once and for all. So I think we all need to seize this moment. And I just want to say to everybody that I love you. And just specifically to my black and brown brothers and sisters, to please take care of yourselves, to please love yourselves, and to love your families, especially to those black men out there that we love you so much. We are praying for you. We respect you and we honor you, and we know that you are valuable. And just once again, self-care is important, to take care of yourself and to really be well. If I could say anything to end this, be well and God bless you.